Welcome to everyone for what we believe is a historic announcement for the Missouri Department of Transportation and for the state of Missouri as we announce the person that's going to lead us forward to meet the challenges and the promise of the future. Before I make that announcement, it's important that I give thanks to the person that has served as interim director over the last 6 months, Roberta Breaker, who stepped in ably. Roberta is our Chief Financial Officer who has stepped forward. And as I've said to people, you can't conduct a national search as we did without knowing that the organization is in very good hands while you focus your energies on that important task. And Roberta did a great job, and Roberta, I'd like to thank you publicly. A word about that search. Missouri deserves the very best. This is a great state, and in our search it reflected the desire to seek the very best talent to lead Missouri forward. And over the last 6 months, with the help of a national search firm, Grant Cooper, internally with Mickey Knudsen, we conducted that search. And at first respects, one would look at Missouri and say, look, you keep talking to us about your critical bridges and your roads. You've been letting people go and downsizing. You lack resources. What would attract people to come here? And what attracts people to come here is the promise of the future. The fact that we have a great organization of talented people. We enjoy wonderful executive leadership through our governor. Missouri is a good place to come. But let's not minimize the challenges that we face. We need a great leader to lead us forward, and we are confident that we have found that person. And that person is Patrick McKenna. Patrick McKenna comes to us from the state of New Hampshire, where he has served as the deputy commissioner, essentially the deputy secretary, and he has been in charge of those very areas that we can use leadership in Missouri. He was the person that was charged with going over to the legislature and making the case for transportation. He was charged with speaking publicly about transportation. He had responsibility for innovation and technology, and he comes with a financial background as we face our funding challenges. He is not an engineer, but he is a creative thinker and leader. And he hasn't spent his lifetime in transportation, which we actually think helps with the creative process. Patrick began in the office of the United States Senate. So he understands Washington, he understands Washington politics, but he didn't stay in Washington. He rose to the position of the Chief Financial Officer in the office of the United States Senate, and he just didn't stay in government. Patrick went on to be a business owner, so he understands what it is to be an entrepreneur and to risk and be responsible for a business as we seek to make government responsible in the same way. And he served in a not-for-profit. So he has his heart in the right place in terms of the notion of public service. And after that experience, he returned to public service where he went to the Department of Transportation in New Hampshire, in the New Hampshire DOT. So this is a person that brings many unique values to Missouri: commitment, integrity, creativity, and he is going to lead us forward. And he's committed to Missouri. He is moving his children, 3 teenage children and his wife, and are settling here in Missouri, leaving a home that they've known for a long time because he believes in the promise of Missourians, and we as Missourians are going to welcome him and his leadership. And with that, I'd like to introduce to you the next and new Director of the Missouri Department of Transportation, Patrick McKenna.
Thank you so much, Chairman Miller, for those nice remarks. Governor, thank you so much, and members of the Commission. I am honored to be here before you today. I'm excited about the prospects of working here with such a great team. We have many people in New Hampshire that have, in New Hampshire DOT, that have tremendous respect for the work that the team here at MoDOT has done over the years. I couldn't be more pleased to be here. It's a tremendous challenge. It's a point in time in transportation throughout the country I think that is really we're at a crossroads. We're faced with an infrastructure that was built by our parents and grandparents, and it's in a condition that we're at risk of leaving it to our children in worse condition than when we got it. And I think that's something that's a trend. It's a trend that has to stop, and it's one that the team here in Missouri at MoDOT, the dedicated public servants in the commission over the past several months, the conversations that we've had, has really drawn me to this place in a way that I'm very excited about. I know there's tremendous challenge, but with that challenge comes opportunity. And with that opportunity, I think working together with the great people here, getting to know the state, bringing my family here, we just couldn't be more excited, and we're pleased for the opportunity and very humbled by it as well. Hope to work to earn your trust and work together to solve problems that I think I'm an optimist at heart. I believe that good people with common ideals, with common interests can come together and solve problems, and I hope to be a part of that, and I look forward to it.
We're honored to have with us today, symbolizing the importance of the announcement we're making, the governor of our state. And before I introduce the governor, I want to say a few words about the governor's leadership for a moment. Governor has appointed all of us up here now that are commissioners. We've given the opportunity for public service, and the governor's entrusted us responsibility. This takes an amazing amount of trust and confidence in the leadership of individual Missourians. In almost every other state in the United States, the Constitution of the state reserves to the governor the policy setting for transportation and the selection of a director or a secretary. And here in Missouri, the Constitution has entrusted that to Missourians that are appointed by the governor and confirmed by the Senate. And let me tell you, the governor has been intimately involved. What I want to acknowledge is that it would be easy for a governor who often gets the blame but not the credit for transportation sometimes to want to try to intervene in the working of a DOT. But not this governor. This governor has attempted to appoint and has appointed good, talented people from around the state and has trusted them to do the job. And I want to thank the governor for the confidence that he has shown in all of us. And he has always, throughout now my 6.5 years on this commission, respected the independence of this commission while still offering the commission his full support. And that did not end with the selection of the current director. All the governor said to us is go out and find the very best talent for Missouri. The governor took the time to meet those finalists, and the governor said, I trust your judgment. Well done. We are going to have a great leader for Missouri. That kind of confidence to trust others is the sign of great leadership. And I want to thank Governor Nixon, because whatever success we may achieve as a department or that Patrick McKenna may achieve starts with his leadership and his confidence in all of us. With that, I'd like to introduce to you the governor of our state, Jay Nixon.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Chairman Miller. I want to first start by applauding the Commission's appointment of Patrick McKenna. This is exactly the kind of experienced leader taking on a critical role at a critical time that we need for our state. I also want to thank each one of these commissioners. And I think that the chairman said it perfect. I try to appoint good people and give them the ability to work together to lead. And it's clear from the robust process here, as well as a lot of other things they've done, that these commissioners take that role incredibly seriously. It's a very diverse group representing all areas of our state, representing urban, rural, representing north, south, east, and west. And I just really think we've got an extremely, extremely strong commission now, and I tremendously appreciate their leadership. Roads and bridges are the arteries of our economy. Whether it's farmers getting their products to market, our parents picking their kids up from school. Our roads must be safe. They must be strong, and they must be reliable. But today we have a challenge. Many of our roads and bridges are deteriorating. And because of increasing fuel efficiency, we don't have enough resources to maintain our transportation infrastructure, let alone improve and strengthen it for the 21st century. Now, MoDOT has done a tremendous job over the past several years of managing its resources. 5 years ago, I stood up and said we needed a smaller, smarter transportation, and the Commission answered that call. Regional offices were closed, leases were terminated, equipment was sold, and over 1,100 positions were cut, providing a total of $604 million in savings. These were very difficult but necessary decisions. And I want to thank the members of the Commission for that outstanding work. That's never easy, but I want to say this to Missourians. We said we were going to do it, they did it, and we start today with a lean, sharp, strong organization ready to move forward. We've done that part of the hard work. There are steps left, but that part's been done. MoDOT tightened its belt, but it's approaching a breaking point, which means that more traffic, less safety, and fewer jobs if we don't act. That is why in my State of the State address last year, I called on the General Assembly to take the necessary steps to fairly and responsibly invest in our roads and bridges. While good progress was made, no bill was passed. Next year, we have another important opportunity to make a down payment on the future and begin the process of meeting our long-term transportation needs. Leaders of both parties agree. The need is clear, and the time is now to pass a transportation bill that will boost safety, create jobs, and grow local economies all across our great state. Patrick is joining MoDOT at a pivotal time, and I know that his experience in both transportation and fiscal management will serve him well in this important role. I'm going to turn it back over to Chairman Miller here for any questions about transportation. If the press has questions about other stuff, we'll work out a way I can get those answered there. But this is, we're here for this historic opportunity of appointing a new leader for this robust organization, and are extremely excited by his leadership and the opportunities it provides to our state for the future. With that, I'll turn it back over to Chairman Miller. Steve, if you would.
Any questions?
Is the winner of...
It's a larger process than that, but well over 25 that came to our attention during the process, and even more that our search team would have culled through. But I will say that our expectations for competition for this job far exceeded what we expected. And as I said before, I think that's a tribute to the MoDOT organization and to Missourians that this is a place to come. But we're very happy with the level of competition, exceeded what we wanted.
Anything you could say in terms of why you wrote for the competition and why you decided to offer him the job?
I think it was a complete package. I mentioned a little bit about Patrick's background. We wanted a director that was very comfortable walking across the street and being able to visit with our governor, and being able to walk into the General Assembly and be responsive to the legislators. That's comfortable of going down into the Elks Club or, to the Chamber of Commerce. And I think we found that in Patrick. And also someone that had, that understands the political process. I mean, my goodness, if you've been in the United States Senate for over a decade as he was and lived in Washington, D.C., and then you went and we're in the state of New Hampshire, you've got to be comfortable with that process, and so we found somebody. Also the fiscal management, someone that's been involved in fiscal management of both government, not-for-profit, and your own private company. I mean, what better experience to come here and bring those creative ideas where we can meld public service and private entrepreneurship right here with MoDOT, which ties into exactly the direction we want with this organization. Innovation, youth, energy, creativity, and Patrick brings that.
One of those ideas, toll roads, New Hampshire has toll roads, is part of this an effort to try to show Missouri that it's not so bad to have toll roads? Here, who wants to answer that?
Well, the interesting thing is that New Hampshire does have some toll roads. And here in Missouri, we are going to look, there are no options we take off the table with respect to how we're going to build a comprehensive transportation system. But we do have someone coming in that has the fiscal and financial knowledge and experience of a variety of different forms, and he's going to meld with what we're doing with our own Road to Tomorrow effort in terms of finding innovative and creative ways to fund transportation going forward. And it's going to be for Patrick, along with the commission, to set what that course will be, and we're not prepared today to prescribe what that plan is going to be. We're going to let him just get here, moved in, and go to work with the job of solving our problems. December 7th will be the first official day here on the job. He will have his first formal commission meeting here in Jefferson City in January to start the new year. It was important to us to have Patrick in place before we began the next session of the General Assembly so that he has an opportunity from the very beginning to work with the governor's office and with our General Assembly to address the pressing need.
I don't know if this is for Mr. McKenna, but we have 34,000 miles of roads in the state's seventh largest highway system, 10,000 bridges. How does New Hampshire compare?
New Hampshire doesn't compare well. We probably fit right into one of your districts here in the state of Missouri. So we're a small state, but a very active state, very engaged population, very engaged legislature. In fact, 430 elected officials in the state of New Hampshire. And a 400-member House, 24 senators, a governor, and 5 elected councilors. So a great deal of public interest. The infrastructure itself, the state maintains about 5,000 miles of road and about 2,500 bridges. So many of the same problems are faced in New Hampshire as they are in Missouri with regard to the infrastructure. Not enough money for routine maintenance and upkeep has led to a declining condition of that very infrastructure that we all count on every day. Every citizen across the nation, the one thing that unifies us all is our use of the transportation system, whether directly or indirectly. And those problems are the same there. As you mentioned, we do have a turnpike system. One of the things we have in that turnpike system is nearly a pristine system for business to thrive on, for citizens to use, and for visitors to come to that state, which is very much a tourist state. And that turnpike system brings visitors in and creates economic opportunity. That system was nearly bankrupt a decade ago, and there is not a single bridge on that system that's in poor condition today.
You heard Commissioner Miller a moment ago. I spoke for the state of Missouri, and I might want to come here despite the problems. But when the folks back home in New Hampshire, perhaps even in your own household, asked you, why do you want to go there given the situation? What did you tell them?
Well, I told them what I said earlier, which is there's a great challenge here, and it's a challenge throughout the country. Infrastructure, transportation is I think a very unique form of government. It's critical to everyone's well-being. It's critical for businesses and visitors. It's critical for people trying to get to school or trying to get to the hospital. And the challenges that are faced here in Missouri are similar challenges being faced elsewhere. And I would say really, in truth, it was discussions with the commission that drew me to this place. It's an extraordinary thing to witness so many people in so many different walks of life that devote so much time to the public service and have such an interest. Their passion, their spirit of getting things fixed and moving forward was really enticing. The reputation of MoDOT also drew me to this place.
Thus far, there's been an electorate here that has not demonstrated the political will to do anything about it. Have you seen that before, and do you have an answer for it?
I have seen that before. New Hampshire had not passed any substantial transportation revenue increases in over 20 years. Just under 2 years ago, under quite a lot of discussion, as you can imagine, the first increase in road toll was passed. It was meant as an inflation adjustment for 20 years of not having an inflation additional revenue. And it was passed, and it's being put to use exactly how the legislature prescribed by the New Hampshire Department of Transportation. It's fixing the main interstate central artery in the state. It's widening and expanding capacity. And it's also being structured in a way where we're using a federal program, the TIFIA program, to leverage the rural rate of interest, which is about half the Treasury rate, in a way that is enabling the paving of about 40% of the rural roads in the state of New Hampshire over the course of the next 8 years. So there are solutions. That was not a popular thing to do. Nobody likes to pay more, but in fact, what we were able to do is demonstrate that really the citizens of every state are taxed by the condition that the infrastructure is in. It may not be coming directly into the coffers of the government, but when you're fixing your car more frequently, when you're driving around infrastructure that's in poor condition, when bridges are closed, that's a tax to everyone in the state. And recognizing that, I think, is very important moving forward.
Outside of the toll system, how does New Hampshire fund its transportation system?
There are two primary funding mechanisms for transportation in New Hampshire. Number one is motor vehicle fees, a series of motor vehicle fees that are collected by our Department of Safety. And number two is the road toll. Those are the primary mechanisms to fund transportation in the state of New Hampshire.
So there is no tax on fuel sales?
Well, we call it a road toll in New Hampshire, so it's a gas tax, yes.
How do you plan on addressing the funding or budget challenges that MoDOT is experiencing right now?
I think that's going to take a lot of discussion. I can't give you an answer today. Working collaboratively with the commission, with the governor, with the legislature, and with stakeholders, key stakeholders, I think we have to form some consensus. We have to have some frank discussions. Those discussions, we're going to find some disagreement. That's not a bad thing. I think that disagreement, it's through that disagreement what we find are passionate people on both sides of any issue, and that's part of the democratic process, and it's something we welcome. I welcome it, and I look forward to it.
Missouri, obviously, right now does not have any toll system anywhere. There is some debate among the legal minds whether or not voters would have to change the Constitution in order to allow it. Are tolls that much of a good idea that it's worth that kind of debate and battle? The trucking industry has said, hell no, if you put a toll road, we'll find another place to go, that kind of thing. Is that battle worth it as you talk about options?
Well, again, as Chairman Miller said, I think we really can't take any options off the table. I think we have to have that discussion and debate. The basis behind tolling is that the users of the system pay for that use. That's the primary ideology behind that source of revenue. And that's one of the things that, as we move forward, we'll have to have that discussion. I don't know that we could say there's consensus on that. It's something that's not necessarily popular. People don't necessarily want to increase their daily cost, and that's a legitimate concern.
How much revenue has come out of toll roads in New Hampshire? How much has been generated? Do you know?
Annually, it generates $120 million a year, which is about, compared to the funding of the remainder, and that's only for 89 miles of road. The entire turnpike system is 89 center miles of road. The remaining 4,600 miles of road receive $250 million of revenue between the gas tax and registration fees.
Have you had the opportunity yet, or do you plan on taking an opportunity to visit the various districts in the state and see the condition of the roads?
I very much look forward to that opportunity. That's definitely, we've had a chance to talk with some of the senior staff, and I tell you, each of the district engineers, I was already, within brief discussions, already hearing quite a lot of need and concerns, and it's something that I'm going to have to get out there and see firsthand.
Are you deputy commissioner now, or are you more flexible in terms of being able to leave New Hampshire and come here?
On Monday, this past Monday, I tendered my resignation in the state of New Hampshire. That goes through, it's an appointed position, a 4-year term. I had about 9 months left on that term. The governor and council Wednesday morning accepted that resignation, and for about an hour and a half, I believe I was unemployed. So before the commission vote.
Waiting for us to act.
That's right.
That's a lot of trust.
You had to resign that position before you could accept this one?
Just trying to give due notice. It's a place that I've become very familiar and very much at home in the transportation space in New Hampshire. I met with senior staff. I met with my team there, and we're working through that transition. I think I mentioned that it was mentioned that I'll be starting here on December 7th. I have a month ahead of me to transition in New Hampshire.
There's nobody waiting back there with handcuffs and ropes and chains in order to keep you there and not let you come here.
I've had a few phone calls this morning already, so.
I think your teenage son that wants to stay and finish his senior year.
Right, yeah, and that's part of the transition as well. During this time, I've 3 children, 2 in high school, my sons, and my daughter's in 7th grade. And my wife and I have decided that the best transition for them would be to make sure that they finished out their school year in their schools that they're at, and then we'll transition as a family out here coming up this summer. So we'll be doing a little commuting. I've done that before when we transitioned from Washington to New Hampshire. I commuted for about 2.5 years, so it's something I'm familiar with.
Well, they say that you worked in the U.S. Senate. You were on the Senate staff?
Yes, an administrative role. I actually worked in the office of the Secretary of the Senate. That's a position appointed by the majority leader, and while I was there, there were 5 different majority leaders and quite a lot of turnover there.
Can you talk about the current transportation budget for New Hampshire? Do you know how much, can you tell me how much that budget is?
Yeah, it's approximately $700 million a year.
If anybody's got any questions for me, they're going to need to get them pretty quick here. If anything else, I'm going to have to run here very fast. If anybody's got anything else, anybody got anything? If not, I'm good. I'm sorry, I just,
Thank you so much.
congratulations.
Governor, thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And again, thank you to the governor for being here today. We look forward to working together.